Day 316. Jeremiah 51-52. This is what the Lord says, Behold, I will stir up against Babylon and against the people of Leb-kamai the spirit of a destroyer. I will send strangers to Babylon to winnow her and empty her land, for they will come against her from every side in her day of disaster. Do not let the archer bend his bow or put on his armor. Do not spare her young men, devote all her army to destruction. And they will fall slain in the land of the Chaldeans, and pierced through in her streets. For Israel and Judah have not been abandoned by their God, the Lord of hosts, though their land is full of guilt before the Holy One of Israel. Flee from Babylon. Escape with your lives. Do not be destroyed in her punishment. For this is the time of the Lord's vengeance, he will pay her what she deserves. Babylon was a gold cup in the hand of the Lord, making the whole earth drunk. The nations drank her wine, therefore the nations have gone mad. Suddenly Babylon has fallen and been shattered. Wail for her, get her balm for her pain, perhaps she can be healed. We tried to heal Babylon, but she could not be healed. Abandon her. Let each of us go to his own land, for her judgment extends to the sky and reaches to the clouds. The Lord has brought forth our vindication, come, let us tell in Zion what the Lord our God has accomplished. Sharpen the arrows. Fill the quivers. The Lord has aroused the spirit of the kings of the Medes, because his plan is aimed at Babylon to destroy her, for it is the vengeance of the Lord, vengeance for his temple. Raise a banner against the walls of Babylon, post the guard, station the watchmen, prepare the ambush. For the Lord has both devised and accomplished what he spoke against the people of Babylon. You who dwell by many waters, rich in treasures, your end has come, the thread of your life is cut. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, surely I will fill you up with men as with locusts, and they will shout in triumph over you. The Lord made the earth by his power, he established the world by his wisdom and stretched out the heavens by his understanding. When he thunders, the waters in the heavens roar, he causes the clouds to rise from the ends of the earth. He generates the lightning with the rain and brings forth the wind from his storehouses. Every man is senseless and devoid of knowledge, every goldsmith is put to shame by his idols. For his molten images are a fraud, and there is no breath in them. They are worthless, a work to be mocked. In the time of their punishment they will perish. The portion of Jacob is not like these, for he is the maker of all things, and of the tribe of his inheritance, the Lord of hosts is his name. You are my war club, my weapon for battle. With you I shatter nations, with you I bring kingdoms to ruin. With you I shatter the horse and rider, with you I shatter the chariot and driver. With you I shatter man and woman, with you I shatter the old man and the youth, with you I shatter the young man and the maiden. With you I shatter the shepherd and his flock, with you I shatter the farmer and his oxen, with you I shatter the governors and officials. Before your very eyes I will repay Babylon and all the dwellers of Chaldea for all the evil they have done in Zion, declares the Lord. Behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, you who devastate the whole earth, declares the Lord. I will stretch out my hand against you, I will roll you over the cliffs and turn you into a charred mountain. No one shall retrieve from you a cornerstone or a foundation stone, because you will become desolate forever, declares the Lord. Raise a banner in the land. Blow the ram's horn among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Summon the kingdoms against her, Ararat, Minni, and Ashkenaz. Appoint a captain against her, bring up horses like swarming locusts. Prepare the nations for battle against her, the kings of the Medes, their governors, and all their officials, and all the lands they rule. The earth quakes and writhes because the Lord's intentions against Babylon stand, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, without inhabitant. The warriors of Babylon have stopped fighting, they sit in their strongholds. Their strength is exhausted, they have become like women. Babylon's homes have been set ablaze, the bars of her gates are broken. One courier races to meet another, and messenger follows messenger, to announce to the king of Babylon that his city has been captured from end to end. The fords have been seized, the marshes set on fire, and the soldiers are terrified. For this is what the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, says, the daughter of Babylon is like a threshing floor at the time it is trampled. In just a little while her harvest time will come. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has devoured me, he has crushed me. He has set me aside like an empty vessel, he has swallowed me like a monster, he filled his belly with my delicacies and vomited me out. May the violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, says the dweller of Zion. May my blood be on the dwellers of Chaldea, says Jerusalem. Therefore this is what the Lord says, Behold, I will plead your case and take vengeance on your behalf, I will dry up her sea and make her springs run dry. Babylon will become a heap of rubble, a haunt for jackals, an object of horror and scorn, without inhabitant. They will roar together like young lions, they will growl like lion cubs. While they are flushed with heat, I will serve them a feast, and I will make them drunk so that they may revel, then they will fall asleep forever and never wake up, declares the Lord. I will bring them down like lambs to the slaughter, like rams with male goats. How Shishak has been captured. The praise of all the earth has been seized. What a horror Babylon has become among the nations. The sea has come up over Babylon, she is covered in turbulent waves. Her cities have become a desolation, a dry and arid land, a land where no one lives, where no son of man passes through. I will punish Bel in Babylon. I will make him spew out what he swallowed. The nations will no longer stream to him, even the wall of Babylon will fall. Come out of her, my people. Save your lives, each of you, from the fierce anger of the Lord. Do not let your heart grow faint, and do not be afraid when the rumor is heard in the land, for a rumor will come 1 year, and then another the next year, of violence in the land and of ruler against ruler. Therefore, behold, the days are coming when I will punish the idols of Babylon. Her entire land will suffer shame, and all her slain will lie fallen within her. Then heaven and earth and all that is in them will shout for joy over Babylon because the destroyers from the north will come against her, declares the Lord. Babylon must fall on account of the slain of Israel, just as the slain of all the earth have fallen because of Babylon. You who have escaped the sword, depart and do not linger. Remember the Lord from far away, and let Jerusalem come to mind. We are ashamed because we have heard reproach, disgrace has covered our faces, because foreigners have entered the holy places of the Lord's house. Therefore, behold, the days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will punish her idols, and throughout her land the wounded will groan. Even if Babylon ascends to the heavens and fortifies her lofty stronghold, the destroyers I send will come against her, declares the Lord. The sound of a cry comes from Babylon, the sound of great destruction from the land of the Chaldeans. For the Lord will destroy Babylon, he will silence her mighty voice. The waves will roar like great waters, the tumult of their voices will resound. For a destroyer is coming against her, against Babylon. Her warriors will be captured, and their bows will be broken, for the Lord is a God of retribution, he will repay in full. I will make her princes and wise men drunk, along with her governors, officials, and warriors. Then they will fall asleep forever and not wake up, declares the King, whose name is the Lord of hosts. This is what the Lord of hosts says, Babylon's thick walls will be leveled, and her high gates consumed by fire. So the labor of the people will be for nothing, the nations will exhaust themselves to fuel the flames. This is the message that Jeremiah the prophet gave to the quartermaster Seraiah son of Neriah, the son of Maaseiah, when he went to Babylon with King Zedekiah of Judah in the 4th year of Zedekiah's reign. Jeremiah had written on a single scroll about all the disaster that would come upon Babylon, all these words that had been written concerning Babylon. And Jeremiah said to Seraiah, when you get to Babylon, see that you read all these words aloud, and say, O Lord, you have promised to cut off this place so that no one will remain, neither man nor beast. Indeed, it will be desolate forever. When you finish reading this scroll, tie a stone to it and cast it into the Euphrates. Then you are to say, in the same way Babylon will sink and never rise again, because of the disaster I will bring upon her. And her people will grow weary. Here end the words of Jeremiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah, she was from Libnah. And Zedekiah did evil in the sight of the Lord, just as Jehoiakim had done. For because of the anger of the Lord, all this happened in Jerusalem and Judah, until he finally banished them from his presence. And Zedekiah also rebelled against the king of Babylon. So in the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon marched against Jerusalem with his entire army. They encamped outside the city and built a siege wall all around it. And the city was kept under siege until King Zedekiah's 11th year. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine in the city was so severe that the people of the land had no food. Then the city was breached, and though the Chaldeans had surrounded the city, all the men of war fled the city by night by way of the gate between the two walls near the king's garden. They headed toward the Arabah, but the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho, and all his army was separated from him. The Chaldeans seized the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he pronounced judgment on Zedekiah. There at Riblah the king of Babylon slaughtered the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and he also killed all the officials of Judah. Then he put out Zedekiah's eyes, bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babylon, where he kept him in custody until his dying day. On the 10th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign over Babylon, Nebuzaradan captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, entered Jerusalem. He burnt down the house of the Lord, the royal palace, and all the houses of Jerusalem, every significant building. And the whole army of the Chaldeans under the captain of the guard broke down all the walls around Jerusalem. Then Nebuzaradan captain of the guard carried into exile some of the poorest people and those who remained in the city, along with the deserters who had defected to the king of Babylon and the rest of the craftsmen. But Nebuzaradan captain of the guard left behind some of the poorest of the land to tend the vineyards and fields. Moreover, the Chaldeans broke up the bronze pillars and stands and the bronze sea in the house of the Lord, and they carried all the bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, shovels, wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, dishes, and all the articles of bronze used in the temple service. The captain of the guard also took away the basins, censers, sprinkling bowls, pots, lampstands, pans, and drink offering bowls, anything made of pure gold or fine silver. As for the 2 pillars, the sea, the 12 bronze bowls under it, and the movable stands that King Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the weight of the bronze from all these articles was beyond measure. Each pillar was 18 cubits tall and 12 cubits in circumference, each was hollow, 4 fingers thick. The bronze capital atop one pillar was 5 cubits high, with a network of bronze pomegranates all around. The second pillar, with its pomegranates, was similar. Each capital had 96 pomegranates on the sides, and a total of 100 pomegranates were above the surrounding network. The captain of the guard also took away Seraiah the chief priest, Zephaniah the priest of second rank, and the 3 doorkeepers. Of those still in the city, he took a court official who had been appointed over the men of war, as well as 7 trusted royal advisers. He also took the scribe of the captain of the army, who had enlisted the people of the land, and 60 men who were found in the city. Nebuzaradan captain of the guard took them and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. There at Riblah in the land of Hamath, the king of Babylon struck them down and put them to death. So Judah was taken into exile, away from its own land. These are the people Nebuchadnezzar carried away, in the 7th year, 3,023 Jews, in Nebuchadnezzar's 18th year, 832 people from Jerusalem, in Nebuchadnezzar's 23rd year, Nebuzaradan captain of the guard carried away 745 Jews. So in all, 4,600 people were taken away. On the 25th day of the 12th month of the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim king of Judah, in the 1st year of the reign of Evil-Merodach king of Babylon, he pardoned Jehoiakim king of Judah and released him from prison. And he spoke kindly to Jehoiakim and set his throne above the thrones of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiakim changed out of his prison clothes, and he dined regularly at the king's table for the rest of his life. And the king of Babylon provided Jehoiakim a daily portion for the rest of his life, until the day of his death. Hebrews 9. Now the first covenant had regulations for worship and also an earthly sanctuary. A tabernacle was prepared. In its first room were the lampstand, the table, and the consecrated bread. This was called the holy place. Behind the second curtain was a room called the most holy place, containing the golden altar of incense and the gold-covered ark of the covenant. Inside the ark were the gold jar of manna, Aaron's staff that had budded, and the stone tablets of the covenant. Above the ark were the cherubim of glory, overshadowing the mercy seat. But we cannot discuss these things in detail now. When everything had been prepared in this way, the priests entered regularly into the first room to perform their sacred duties. But only the high priest entered the second room, and then only once a year, and never without blood, which he offered for himself and for the sins the people had committed in ignorance. By this arrangement the Holy Spirit was showing that the way into the most holy place had not yet been disclosed as long as the first tabernacle was still standing. It is an illustration for the present time, because the gifts and sacrifices being offered were unable to cleanse the conscience of the worshipper. They consist only in food and drink and special washings, external regulations imposed until the time of reform. But when Christ came as high priest of the good things that have come, he went through the greater and more perfect tabernacle that is not made by hands and is not a part of this creation. He did not enter by the blood of goats and calves, but he entered the most holy place once for all by his own blood, thus securing eternal redemption. For if the blood of goats and bulls and the ashes of a heifer sprinkled on those who are ceremonially unclean sanctify them so that their bodies are clean, how much more will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, purify our consciences from works of death, so that we may serve the living God? Therefore Christ is the mediator of a new covenant, so that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance, now that he has died to redeem them from the transgressions committed under the first covenant. In the case of a will, it is necessary to establish the death of the one who made it, because a will does not take effect until the one who made it has died. It cannot be executed while he is still alive. That is why even the first covenant was not put into effect without blood. For when Moses had proclaimed every commandment of the law to all the people, he took the blood of calves and goats, along with water, scarlet wool, and hyssop, and sprinkled the scroll and all the people, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant, which God has commanded you to keep." In the same way, he sprinkled with blood the tabernacle and all the vessels used in worship. According to the law, in fact, nearly everything must be purified with blood, and without the shedding of blood there is no forgiveness. So it was necessary for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these sacrifices, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ did not enter a man-made copy of the true sanctuary, but he entered heaven itself, now to appear on our behalf in the presence of God. Nor did he enter heaven to offer himself again and again, as the high priest enters the most holy place every year with blood that is not his own. Otherwise, Christ would have had to suffer repeatedly since the foundation of the world. But now he has appeared once for all at the end of the ages to do away with sin by the sacrifice of himself. Just as man is appointed to die once, and after that to face judgment, so also Christ was offered once to bear the sins of many, and he will appear a second time, not to bear sin, but to bring salvation to those who eagerly await him.